Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Uriah from Exit Music, and today we're just going to learn how to record our first MIDI and audio instrument in Studio One. Coming up. In this section, just double click on the icon. Let's assume that you just open Studio One and you don't know what to do. Now, the very first thing we have to do is to set up our audio device. Now, this is the audio setup. The very first thing you have to do here is to just make sure that you click this section, and you should get a pop-up like this on your screen. Now, this is where you are going to choose your audio driver. That means that this driver comes with a sound card. The sound card you bought has got some driver attached to it, so you would have to install this for you to be able to get this particular ASIO driver. Yeah, so in my case, I'm using Fast Track Duo ASIO, and that is what I'm using. So if you've got a different sound card like a Focusrite, you can choose Focusrite over here. If you've got any other sound card you've got, it should come up in this section. So you just have to select your sound card name and then just go on OK. Now there are other things to configure as well, but for the sake of this is a beginner's tutorial. I don't want to get things so extraordinary and so difficult for you guys. Yeah, so let's just make sure that the device block size is set to 512. That is standard and normal for every DAW. After double clicking on the icon, this is the first look of Studio One. This is how it looks like. Yes, so in the left section you could see create a new song, create a new project, and open an existing document. So this is just to create a new project and or a new song. Sorry, this is what we are going to choose at this section. We are just going to create a new song. Yeah, for now this tutorial is purposely for beginners, so let's just take beginners into consideration. Okay, so just go create a song and you should get something like this on your screen. Now there are templates here where you can choose from, but for the purpose of this lesson, I'd like us to choose just empty. So we are just going to choose empty here, but I'd like you to take a note at this section also. We are choosing sample rate 441. Our resolution is 24-bit. Time base is the bar or the samples or the seconds that we are going in for bar because it's more musical, And then the song length is 5 minutes. You can increase it over here, but you can still do it in the project, so it's not a big deal. Yeah. And then there is a tempo section as well. That is the tempo of our song. On our time signature, we'll be working in 4/4 time. So that is our time signature. And the key of the signature also, we can choose it over here, but we wouldn't do that. So we are just going to go on create empty. Now this section is also the interface, and that is connecting your sound card to Studio One. You can choose from one of this sound card preset over here, and then you should be good to go. So we wouldn't be doing that in this lesson. What we are going to do is you just go on style and then you click on create empty. Yeah, so let's go. This is Studio One. That is the first impression you get, and then you will see that on the left side of the screen you've got so many tools over here. Now we are not going to talk about the tools over here, but what we are going to do here is create our first track. Yes, and that is going to be our instrument track. So what you're going to do, when you watch the right section over here, you could see that there is instrument, there is effect, there is loops, files, cloud, shop, and etc. Okay, so what we are going to do first is just take one of the Studio One built-in VSTs, and we are just going to play around this VST to see what we can really get out of it. So let's take this very one, that is the Mai Tai, and then you just have to drag it and just drop it over here. I just selected this Mai Tai for my drum session. I just want to do something a little bit techy, let's say techno or something like that. Yeah, so the drum I chose over here was drum BD techy, or anyhow you call it. Yeah, so I'm just going to do some groove over here, and then you guys are going to see how it sounds. Please subscribe to my channel. It's very, very important. When you subscribe to my channel, it's just going to help me and also bring you more tutorials on production and anything that has to do with audio. Now to activate your metronome, you just click on C, or you press C on your keyboard, or you can also click this section just click this section, and you are going to automatically activate the metronome. Okay, so let's just get started with the whole beat. Okay, so randomly I'm just playing something randomly, so we just have to edit the MIDI, and what we are going to do is just double click on this track, and you're going to get the MIDI files down here. Okay, so let's just go straight into the MIDI and try to edit our MIDI over here. Now you just go on Control A to select everything, and then you go on Q to quantize it. So you just go on Q, and then it's going to quantize it. Quantization means that it's going to place it on the grid, you know, and basically that is the meaning of it. So I just don't want you to get confused in this section. Yeah, so just follow me whilst I elaborate, and then whilst I also you know, show you how it works. Okay, in this section I'm just going to choose one of the tones randomly from this very VST instrument over here. That is the Mai Tai VST instrument. You know, I don't know how you call it, but anyhow you call it. Yeah, so by doing that, you just go up here, and then you choose one of the tones. But in my case, I love this one, so I just chose this one. And then what I'm going to do is just record. So to record, let me just close this one. So to record, what you have to do is you just click record over here, and then you should be good to go. So let's assume that I've chosen the tone I want, and I just want to record. So what you have to do is you just go here, and you just hit record over here, and then you should be good to go. So let me just hit record and start playing. 2, 3, 4. Yep. Okay, so let's assume that I love what I just played. I'm just going to do Control A over here, and then just go out Q to quantize everything. And then if there is a wrong note somewhere, I'd have to delete that particular wrong note. Yeah, there was a small note there, I have to delete that, and then I'm good to go. What I have to do is just duplicate this one, because actually it falls on the bar. So I just select this, and then Control D or D on your keyboard should just duplicate the whole track. Yep. So let's say this is what we have as our first keyboard session, the polysynth arpeggio we just chose. So let's go. Now to save your projects, it's also very simple. You just go on Control S, and then you should get a pop-up, or it should be saved automatically, or you can decide to go to File and then Save As or Save. You know, it's a normal saving kind of thing. So you just choose where the directory, as in where you want your project to be saved. So let's say this is our Uriah. Let me just name it as Uriah Studio 1 tutorial. Studio 1 tutorial. Okay, so let's say that's our tutorial, and let's just save it this way. Yeah, we're just going to do another instrument, and I just want this tutorial to be very simple as well. Yep, so we are just going to choose second instance of the Mai Tai, and then we try to get a tone out of that. Okay, so let's go. It's the same process. So on the second track, that is actually our third track, I just chose another instance of the Mai Tai, and then what I did was you just go on this section, and then you go on polysynth. I think I chose this. Let me see, that is the melodic activities. Yeah, so I chose melodic activities. Yeah, where is it? Yeah, I chose melodic activities over here. Yeah, so that is going to be our tone for the next section. Okay, so let's just start recording this section. Okay, so let's say this is what I want. What I have to do is I just have to do the same process. You just double click, and then you make sure you select the section. Sorry, make sure you go just click on any section over here, the MIDI editor, and then just go on Control A and hit Q to quantize it. Yep. So I'm going to do a fixed velocity as we did for this one. So I'm just going to go to velocities over here, right click, and go on velocity. Make sure you right click on the MIDI notes whilst it is selected, and just go on velocities, and you should get something. You should get something like this on your screen, and just go to set all to 80%. You can change the values over here, but just go to set all to 80% and just hit OK. So I'm just going to cut the portions I don't like, especially this portion. Just going to cut it and just duplicate this one. Yes, the cutting tool is this tool, and the selection tool is this one. I'm using shortcuts, so you wouldn't see what I'm doing, but this is the selection tool and this is the cutting tool. Yep. So we just select this and then make sure we duplicate it. You can just hit D on the keyboard and it should duplicate. Okay, so that's it. So let's go. Let me just play from top so that we can all listen together. Okay, so there is a mistake somewhere. I just have to fix it. Make sure everything is playing just like I want them to, and then any kind of wrong notes, you just go through the MIDI and then make sure you put them in place. For example, this note is playing at the wrong place. Where is it? This particular note, so I just have to shift it here. By shifting, you just hold on Control, and then with the arrow key you can just shift. You can just shift it, Control and the arrow key, left or right or up or down, you know. Yep. So left or right, you can just shift it with a Control left or Control right. Yep. So that's it. We have to delete this and then recall this one again. So duplicate this one, yeah, because there is a mistake over there. So let me just go through it again, see how it sounds. There is a mistake also over here. So what I'm going to do is, actually I'm playing the same thing, so I'm just going to cut the correct part and then just duplicate. So let's go. Okay, so I'm playing the same thing, so I'm just going to duplicate this one and just duplicate it this way, D on your keyboard, and then you should be good to go. Now you just have to go to the mixer section or so, and what you're going to do is you can just bring the levels over here down a little bit so that it doesn't sound so loud. So that's what I'm doing over here. So the sound is just going to be balanced whilst you work on the sound. Yep. So let's choose our next instrument and then see how best we can. I just want to do something very simple, so let's just choose one of the instruments and then follow with other instrument. Yeah, so this is a whole build up. I'm not expecting you to do the same thing, but I'm just showing you how to do it so you can do it on your own way. You program your own music. This is one step at a time. You do the kick, you do the snare, you do the hi-hats, you do the keyboards, you do the polysynths, you do the bass guitar, you record the guitars, the e-guitar, that's the electric guitar, and any other thing. Yep, so that's it. Let's move straight to the next instrument. Please subscribe to my channel. It's very, very important. You know, when you subscribe to my channel, it's just going to help me and also bring you more tutorials on production and anything that has to do with audio. In the next instrument, I'm just going to select one of this parts, and then I find out that the mountain part looks very nice, as in it sounds very nice. So I'm just going to take this mountain part, and that's going to be our next part for the session. So let's go straight. Okay, so I've chosen it. I just have to start recording it. What I'm going to do is close the section and then just hit record. Make sure you start from the top. Just hit 1 on the numeric keyboard and it should take you straight to the top. And then what we are going to do also is you just go and record over here, and then you should be able to record. So let's go. Okay, so let's assume that this is the part I played, and for the purpose of this lesson, I just want to make things very simple. So I'm just going to delete this section. I just click it and hit delete, and it's gone. Okay, and then I'm just going to duplicate this very MIDI section by going on D or Control D on the keyboard, and you should be able to duplicate. Okay, so let's assume that this is my part. I love it. I just have to bring the level down a little bit so that it's a little bit balanced in the mix. So let's assume that we'd like to add some bass to it, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to choose one bass instance from the same plugin we have been using over and over. So you just select by dragging the plugin, that is a My Type plugin, from the instrument section to the track, and that's what I did. And what I'm going to do here is just choose the bass. So I chose bass, bad bass. Yeah, so that's it. This is the bass I chose, and that's what I'm going to use for our bass session today. Let's go. Okay, so let's assume that is what I just played, and I just have to edit it and see. Yep, and then that's our bass for this session. So I'm just going to duplicate the bass over and over and over to the last point. So that's what I'm going to do now, and we are good to go. Yep, so that's our bass for this whole song. Now we didn't do a snare or something like that. It's just a, it's a tutorial kind of thing I'm doing, so I just want to keep everything very simple. Yeah, so you can do your snare, you can do your hi-hat, you can do everything. You can continue as in do it the way you want, play the beat around, play around with it, so you can, but this software, you always have to try and try and try and try and try. So let's assume that we'd like to add some guitars to it as well. Now what we are going to do is you just go on the section and then right click and just go on add track, or you can just hit T on your keyboard, or Control T, it depends on the setup. Yeah, so we just go on add track, and you should get something like this on your screen. Okay, so what we are going to go for is the audio track. So you have to name this audio track, let's say our guitars over here, and then make sure you can color the project. You can choose your preferred color, but I like to leave it on auto. If it's on auto, you can select this. I like to leave it on auto, and also make sure the format is on mono. It's very, very important. Yeah, and the preset is, maybe if you've got some compressor preset or whatever it is, preset you like for your instrument or whatever it is, but I don't suggest that. What I'd like you to do is make sure that the input section is selected. Now in my case, I've got the guitar on my right side. On the right input, that's the second input on my sound card. It's going through the second input. Yep. So you have to choose the right place, as in the right input for your guitars or your bass or whatever it is. Yeah. Okay. And then the main out, the output is always main. Just leave it like that. Just go on OK. Okay, so let's just track our guitars, and then make sure to record. You always have to make sure that the record is enabled. It's very, very important. So Now this is how I did the guitars. I just recorded 2 different guitars. One will be panned to the left and one will be panned to the right. Yeah. So what you're going to do is you just go on add track and then just go on C or add track, and you should select the type as an audio track, and then you can type the name of the track. It's the same process for the vocals as well. I'm not a vocalist, so I didn't like to be doing vocals on this track, but I'm just telling you how it is done. Yeah, so you just name it guitars, and then make sure that the input is selected on your sound card, wherever you've chosen to put your cord, that is your jack cable for the guitars. You just choose that as the input. If it's on the second, the right side, if you have got 2 input and it's at the right side, make sure that the right input is selected, and if it's on the left side, make sure that the left input is selected. In most of the cases, you see that I know that people will be using 2 in 2 out, kind of sound card, so I know it's going to work perfect. And then make sure the format type is also mono for recording vocals, for recording your guitars. Make sure mono is always selected for your recording. Then the output should always be on main out, and then you are good to go. Just hit on OK. The moment you hit on OK, you're going to get a track like this down here, named guitar. Now you can also rename your track by just double clicking on this section and just renaming it to anything you want. You can see from this section I made it bass. You can also name these tracks as your synth or whatever you want to do with it. It's possible to do that. And I'm very grateful you joined me. Now let's assume that you finish recording your beats, everything, your vocals or whatever it is, and you want to export it to a mixing and mastering engineer like myself. If you want to send the steams to me as in the individual track house, if you want to send it for mixing and mastering, what you have to do is you just go on the song and make sure that you go on export steams. That is very, very important. Go on export steams, and you can see from this section, channels will be selected and tracks will be selected. Yes, so you can decide to go with the channel. You can also decide to also export the main out, that is the stereo out, that is stereo out itself. Or you can decide to just leave that one out and export everything. Or you can just decide to export only the tracks. Let's say a guitar track that is empty, you're just going to leave it out, Or you can decide that, okay, let me just choose the channels and export. But I'd like you to export the tracks because most of the time the songs are on the tracks, so you export your tracks. What we are going to do is we are going to select our wave, make sure that 24-bit is selected, or you can leave it at 16-bit, that is also okay. And you choose the location for the steams, songs, and let's name this as our steams. You can just name it by creating a new folder and naming it steams for mastering, for mixing, or let's say just steams. That's cool. Yep. So you select your steams and then select the folder, and between loops should be selected. Yep. And then that's all. Just leave everything just like it is here. Just go on OK. It's going to export. It's happening on the other screen. I'd have to bring it here. Yeah. You're going to see something like this on your screen, and it's going to export. And the moment it finishes exporting, you can just put all those tracks into one RAW, or upload it with WeTransfer or whatever it is for mixing and mastering. Yes. So I'm just going to show you where to also get your mixing and mastering at a very cool rate. For your mixing and mastering purposes, you can just check my website, and then you can also make a purchase, or you can send me direct message on Instagram, on Facebook, and then I'm just going to sort you out. This is my website, it's xspeedmusic.net, and you can find my rates over there. It's cool, don't be scared about the rate. We can talk about it. I charge depending on each project, so it's not like my charges are high. Yeah, so for professional projects, if you go on rate, you should get my price list over here. For pro mixing, that is one song meaning unlimited steams. You can send me unlimited steams for one song. And then also for mastering, pro mastering, mixing and mastering, you can also send me one song. That's unlimited steams, unlimited steams, and I'm just going to do a perfect job for you. For mastering purposes, you can also contact me. The booking form is here. You just enter your name, your last name, email, phone number, and address, and also the continent you're coming from. And you can choose your studio service, that is the mastering, production, or podcast editing, mixing, sound design, whatever it is. And we can also go on the songs, the number of songs you want to do, and the date as in you can choose your date, your deadline date. So the moment it's exported, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get all the tracks here. So if you send it for mixing and mastering, it's very simple. We just copy this whole track and bring it into the project. And we can also, I can check the tempo myself. You don't even need to write it. I check it everything myself, and then I can work on it for you. Yes. So that is how you export your tracks for mixing and mastering. And for listening purpose, that one, you just have to go on songs and export mix down. That's all. You're just going to get only one file. Yes. So that is it. Thanks a lot for watching, and I wish you all the best in your music production career.